In this section, we'll be learning about what is a smart contract. You'll be hearing about smart contracts almost every day when you're working in the blockchain environment, so it's important for you to know what is smart contract. The smart contract is also called as a chain code in the Hyperledger space or Hyperledger world. In the case of Ethereum world, it's called as smart contract. When you're moving outside of Ethereum, you will be referring, the same thing will be referred as a chain code. Smart contracts in a most simplest way, if I have to explain, it's basically a set of programmatical rules or maybe the decision points which will be working on the transactions in that particular block or maybe the process of that particular block. And the smart contracts, they make sure it's automation of transaction, and also they ensure they follow the rules written in that particular smart contract. And typically all the smart contracts or the chain code are stored in the blockchain itself. So the smart contracts are not running on your browser or maybe on the server. The smart contracts are stored in the blockchain itself, and they'll ensure that all the rules or regulations are written in that particular smart contracts are executed in the blockchain itself. So one of the classic example of a blockchain smart contract is, let's say there's an agreement between the landlord and the tenant, and the landlord can write a smart contract saying that, see, these are individual smart contracts. So maybe agreement between tenant A and tenant B can be different. So when the landlord writing a smart contract with tenant A, he can say this is the transaction amount, this is the rental amount, and you have to pay the rent on so and so date, maybe the 1st or the 5th of every month. And you can also write a smart contract to auto debit the payments on every given the cycle, maybe 5th or the 10th of every month. And if the funds are not received in certain dates, you can add one more condition or maybe logic saying that charge the interest rate for the payment for the delayed payments. Maybe let's say if the funds are not received in 10 days after the due date, you might charge 5%, and maybe after 10 days and maybe 20%. So it's the landlord is writing the rules, similar to what you're writing in the notepad or maybe in the agreement that this is the payment date and this is what the penalty is. But in the case of physical form, you are doing the transaction, whereas in the smart contract, the rules and regulations will be automatically imposed in the blockchain itself. Smart contracts will provide most of the benefits like autonomy. Smart contract can be developed by anyone. No, you as a participant can write your own smart contracts. Just example I've given below, the landlord can write a smart contracts for any particular tenants, and there's no need of intermediary such as the lawyers or the brokers or the auditors to monitor such transactions. So the agreement between the tenants and the landlord, and if they both agree the smart contracts, why we need a third party to verify the transactions? So that is the autonomy achieved by the smart contracts. And also smart contracts can do backup of transactions. So a blockchain and a smart contracts deployed in can be provide a permanent record which allows the auditing of in detail insights and also traceability of the creator of that particular smart contracts, even if the smart contractor are developed by the person or the entity is no longer a business. So once the smart contract is designed or developed, you have a complete log, of course, with the, that is exactly achieved in the blockchain, right? From the time you get into blockchain till the execution point, till today, you can always look at all the transactions. You don't have to have a backup system in place. The backup is already built into the blockchain network itself. And smart contracts are also most efficient. The efficiency is achieved by removing the processes or the intermediaries, which often results a significant process delays or maybe causes the efficiency again. So let's say the same example of a landlord and the tenant. When you write a physical copy, let's say now if you're taking up a lease, you have to design, you have to come up with a contract, you have to go to authority, get it signed, then take it back to the landlord, get signed again. So there's a lot of ambiguities in all this. It's not efficient, right? Whereas in the smart contracts, it's instant. The moment you agree that conditions, it becomes live. And also the smart contracts are providing accuracy information. Probably this is, we can be seen in a negative way. If you write something inaccurate, that will become legal in the blockchain. But if you look at the positive scenarios, blockchain smart contracts will ensure the code executes or code performs on certain dates. So same example, collect the rent on 5th of every month is this is what written in the smart contracts. It will do that on the 5th of every month. We don't have to remind or maybe send a service or kick on the service to run that particular transactions. It runs efficiently and most accurately. And you can write probably a condition like, if the payment is not received, the funds are low, then you can write a if else condition. If the amount received is less than the rental amount, then you can do else condition, you can write it. So this is more accurate compared to what is done in the human way, right? And also the smart contracts will save a lot of cost. Cost saving is one of the benefit, because you are replacing the intermediaries. You're not depending on the lawyers, or maybe you're not depending on the banks. It's happening automatically, so it will save a lot of cost. Now usually the lawyers will charge something for the rental agreement, so you're not spending anything on that. So these are some of the advantages provided by the smart contracts: autonomy, backup, efficiency, accuracy, and finally the cost saving. So this is what is achieved using the smart contracts. In general, you can write smart contract using any programming languages, again depending on the environment. If you are in Ethereum, there's a different programming language. If you're in Hyperledger, there's a different programming language. Or if you're using any other blockchain platforms like Polkadot or maybe Solana, so there's different C's, but it is between like JavaScript to C, C++. Again, if we don't want to recommend any particular programming language, once you choose your ideal job, that's the programming language you'll be using. For the testers and business analysts, you just have to define the rules, how the smart contract should be written, and the tester should be validating the smart contracts efficiently. So that's about smart contracts, and let me know a good use case of a smart contracts in the form of comments below. I'll be happy to read.